All right, let's talk about one of the biggest, most ambitious projects humanity has ever taken on, the global shift to a net zero energy world. We're essentially talking about completely rewiring our entire planet. So let's dive in and see what that actually looks like.
You know, what's so wild is that this whole idea, it's not new at all. Get this, that quote is from Thomas Edison more than 100 years ago. So the dream of a renewable future, it's been around for a very, very long time. The big difference is that today, right now, we actually have the tech to make it happen.
So why the huge push right now? Well, it all comes down to the urgent need to deal with climate change and cut down on pollution. This isn't just a small tweak. We're talking about a massive, revolutionary change, moving away from the fossil fuels that have powered everything for generations and into a totally new way of doing things.
To actually pull this off, you can basically break it down into 3 core pillars. And the first one, the one that probably comes to mind for everyone, is totally reinventing how we make power in the first place. The foundation of this new energy world isn't just one thing. It's really a whole team of clean energy all-stars. You've got the ones we all know and love, right? Solar panels, wind turbines. But there are also other huge players stepping up, like green hydrogen and biofuels made from things like waste. The main thing to get is that there's no single silver bullet here. Success is going to take a combination of all of these working together.
Okay, but this is where it gets really, really cool. The next generation of these technologies, they look almost nothing like what we have today. We're not just talking about slightly better solar panels. We're talking about completely reimagining what they even are.
For instance, imagine a wind turbine with no blades. Seriously, a company called Vortex Bladeless has made exactly that. It's this tall, skinny rod that just kind of wobbles or oscillates in the wind, and that motion generates electricity. Since it's totally silent and doesn't take up much space, you could put these things in cities, where a giant traditional turbine could never ever go.
Or what about this for an idea? Making solar panels out of old fruit and vegetable scraps. It sounds crazy, but there's this award-winning concept that uses glowing particles from food waste to create a material that can capture energy even on a cloudy day. It's just a perfect example of turning a huge problem, food waste, into a powerful solution.
All right, so that leads us right into our second pillar. Because making clean energy is amazing, but it's really only half the battle. You also have to be able to store it.
And this gets us to the single biggest challenge with renewables. It's their Achilles heel, right? They're intermittent. The sun goes down every night. The wind stops blowing. So how in the world do you keep the lights on 24/7?
Well, the answer is something called long-duration energy storage. You can think of these technologies like giant energy reservoirs. They're built to soak up huge amounts of power when it's sunny or windy, hold on to it for hours or even days, and then release it exactly when we need it. This is the absolute key to making a renewable grid reliable.
And the tech for this is moving so fast. We're all used to the lithium-ion batteries in our phones and cars. But check out what's coming next. Lithium glass batteries. Not only are they way safer because they literally can't catch fire, but they charge faster. And get this, their ability to hold a charge can actually increase the more you use them. That's a complete game changer.
Okay, so we're generating clean power, we have ways to store it. The third and final pillar is all about connecting everything. We have to build a much, much smarter grid.
See, our current grid was designed like a one-way street. You have a few big power plants that push electricity out to everyone. But the future is totally decentralized. Power is going to be flowing from millions of different places, from solar panels on your roof, from community wind farms, even from parked electric cars. Our old grid just wasn't built for that kind of two-way traffic. So, what we really need is a smart grid. And that happens in 3 big steps. First, we have to physically upgrade the hardware, the actual wires and towers. Second, we need systems that can integrate all those distributed sources, like vehicle-to-grid, where your car can actually earn you money by selling power back to the grid. And third, we use AI to be the traffic cop for this whole complex system, managing energy flow and predicting problems before they cause a blackout.
The technology is incredible, and a lot of it is already here. But now it's time for a little reality check. Because having cool inventions is one thing, deploying them on a global scale is another thing entirely.
Just to keep up with all the new demand from things like electric cars and electric heating, some experts think our entire electrical grid might need to double or maybe even triple in size. Let that sink in. That's like taking the entire grid we spent the last 100 years building and then building it all over again, maybe twice.
The sheer scale is just mind-boggling. And that's really the hard truth of all this. Even with every piece of technology ready to go, a transition this enormous isn't a 5-year project. Building out the infrastructure, all the wires, factories, and systems is going to take decades of focused, sustained effort.
So that brings us to the biggest roadblocks today. And what's so fascinating is they aren't really about technology anymore. The real hurdles are about scale and cost. We're talking about massive long-term investment. They're about manufacturing. Do we have the factories to build all this stuff? And maybe the biggest one of all is policy, having a stable national consensus to see this thing through for the long haul.
And that leaves us with a final thought. For the most part, we have the tools we need to build a clean energy world. The greatest challenge isn't dreaming up new inventions anymore. It's about implementation. It's about the grit and will to actually do it. So the question is no longer can we, it's will we. Are we ready to build a future